the road to the fight, Tyson's return, and Golota's challenge. In the year 2000, Mike Tyson was at a crossroads in his career. Once a dominant, almost mythical figure in boxing, Tyson had been through a tumultuous period. After a series of losses, personal struggles, and time spent in prison, Tyson was attempting a comeback, looking to reclaim his lost glory. His career had been mired in controversies, but despite this, his name still carried significant weight in the boxing world. On the other hand, Andrew Golota was a fighter with a reputation for his explosive potential, but also a history of mental lapses and self-destructive tendencies. Known for his incredible talent, Golota had faced both triumph and disappointment in his career, including notorious losses and disqualifications. When the match between Tyson and Golota was announced, many saw it as a chance for Golota to prove his worth at the highest level. For Tyson, the fight was another step in his attempt to find stability and reclaim a world title shot. Tyson was coming off a victory over Orlin Norris, and though his style had slowed, his raw power remained. The question was whether he could maintain the discipline and focus required for a more calculated victory against a fighter like Golota. Tyson's camp was confident, but there were doubts about how much Tyson had left in him. Golota, in contrast, was motivated, but his history of psychological and emotional instability loomed large. The stage was set for an intriguing matchup between a boxing legend and a fighter with much to prove. As the fight date approached, Tyson's camp was working tirelessly to ensure he was in fighting shape. The question for Tyson was whether he could avoid the distractions that had often derailed his previous fights. For Golota, the battle was as much internal as it was physical. Could he keep his composure and not let his past mistakes define him? The fight begins round 1 and round 2. On October 20, 2000, the world tuned in to see what many anticipated would be a one-sided affair. The MGM Grand in Las Vegas was packed, and the atmosphere was electric. Tyson, still a fan favorite despite his recent controversies, made his way to the ring with his familiar intensity. Golota, often seen as a dangerous fighter when mentally focused, appeared calm but determined. Crowd was on edge, eager to see whether Tyson could live up to his reputation. The bell rang for round 1, and Tyson immediately took control. He wasted no time, charging at Golota with a combination of powerful jabs and hooks. Tyson's attack was relentless, and it was clear from the opening moments that Golota was struggling to keep up. Tyson's speed, precision, and raw power were on full display, and Golota had little room to maneuver. Golota tried to keep his distance, using his jab to create space, but Tyson's relentless pressure was overwhelming. Tyson backed Golota into the ropes and unleashed a series of punches, each one thudding into Golota's body and head. Golota's defense seemed to be crumbling under the pressure, and he appeared increasingly unsure of how to respond. The round ended with Tyson firmly in control, and Golota was clearly hurt, but still standing. In round 2, Tyson continued his onslaught. Golota, having been rocked in the previous round, struggled to mount any significant offense. Tyson, sensing weakness, picked up the pace, landing combinations that seemed to have Golota on the verge of breaking. Golota attempted to fight back, but his punches lacked the power and precision needed to deter Tyson. It was clear that Golota's resolve was wavering. As the round came to a close, Golota appeared exhausted, bruised, and mentally drained. The bell rang, signaling the end of round 2. Golota staggered to his corner, breathing heavily, his face already showing signs of wear and tear from Tyson's brutal assault. Tyson, on the other hand, seemed calm, almost bored, as if he had barely broken a sweat. The crowd sensed the fight was nearing its conclusion, but no one could have predicted what was about to happen. The disappearance of Golota round 3 and the decision to quit. Golota's corner was concerned. They could see their fighter was not responding well to Tyson's power, and there was genuine worry about his ability to continue. The team huddled, giving their fighter water and trying to calm him down, but it was evident that Golota was mentally defeated. Tyson, relentless as ever, was ready to continue his assault, sensing that Golota was vulnerable. As the bell rang for round 3, the crowd waited for the action to resume. But instead of stepping back into the ring, Golota remained seated on his stool, shaking his head. The referee approached Golota's corner, asking if he was ready to continue, but Golota did not rise. He was claiming that he had suffered a broken cheekbone and concussion during the fight, injuries that made him unable to continue. The announcers were stunned, as were the fans in the arena. Golota, who had not been knocked down, had quit on his stool. The fight was immediately halted, and Tyson was declared the winner by technical knockout. However, the decision to quit on his stool raised eyebrows. Many in the crowd, including commentators and analysts, questioned the legitimacy of Golota's injury. His ability to fight back in the earlier rounds, while not dominant, suggested that he could have continued if he had been mentally tougher. The controversy surrounding Golota's decision to quit was immediate. Some boxing fans and pundits were sympathetic, acknowledging that it's possible for a fighter to sustain injuries that aren't immediately visible. Others, however, believed that Golota's history of self-sabotage was at play and that he had mentally given up on the fight before it had truly been decided. Tyson, though victorious, seemed disappointed. He had dominated the fight, but the manner of Golota's withdrawal left a sour taste. The post-fight fallout, the positive drug test. The controversy surrounding the fight did not end with Golota quitting. Shortly after the fight, reports emerged that Tyson had tested positive for marijuana in his post-fight drug test. This revelation stunned many in the boxing community, as Tyson had been a fixture in the spotlight for years due to his erratic behavior, and marijuana use only added to the cloud of controversy that surrounded him. Tyson, in his post-fight interview, did not seem particularly concerned about the test result. While marijuana is not a performance-enhancing drug, Tyson's positive test raised questions about his discipline and commitment to his career. Many in the boxing world felt that Tyson's use of marijuana was just another example of his self-destructive tendencies, contributing to the narrative that Tyson was not fully invested in his comeback and was at times more interested in avoiding the responsibilities of a champion than embracing them. As the news of Tyson's failed drug test spread, the fight's outcome became even murkier. The Nevada State Athletic Commission launched an investigation into the positive test, and it wasn't long before the fight was officially ruled a no contest. The ruling came as a result of Tyson's violation of the state's drug policies, and it further complicated the legacy of a fighter who was already surrounded by controversy. For Tyson, the ruling was another blemish on an already tarnished career. For Golota, it was a strange turn of events. Though he had quit on his stool, he would now forever be associated with the fight's chaotic aftermath. Tyson's camp, unsurprisingly, expressed frustration with the ruling, but the damage was done. The fight, which many believed had been a dominant victory for Tyson, was now officially a no contest, and the outcome would forever be clouded by the controversy surrounding the drug test. Public reaction, the fallout, and Tyson's reputation. The public reaction to the Tyson-Golota fight was swift and divided. Fans who had hoped to see a decisive and thrilling contest were left disappointed. Tyson's domination in the first 2 rounds was overshadowed by the bizarre circumstances that followed. The decision by Golota to quit was one thing, but the revelation that Tyson had tested positive for marijuana further complicated the situation. Tyson's reputation, which had already been damaged by past controversies, took another hit. Many saw the positive drug test as evidence of his lack of discipline and focus. Tyson, who had once been the undisputed king of the heavyweight division, now seemed like a man out of touch with the demands of professional boxing. His camp maintained that Tyson was not using marijuana as a way to gain any kind of edge, but the public's perception of the fighter was increasingly shaped by his erratic behavior, both inside and outside the ring. Golota, too, faced his share of criticism. While some supported his decision to quit due to the alleged injury, others accused him of lacking the heart and mentality to compete at the highest levels. Golota had long been considered a fighter with immense talent, but fragile resolve, and this fight did little to change that narrative. The boxing world was left to wonder whether Golota would ever be able to overcome his mental barriers and truly fulfill his potential. Tyson's legacy, the no contest, and its impact. The Tyson-Golota fight will forever be remembered for its bizarre and controversial aftermath. While Tyson's dominance in the ring was undeniable, the drug test and Golota's decision to quit left a cloud over the fight's result. The no contest ruling, while technically accurate, did little to add clarity to Tyson's career trajectory. In the years following the fight, Tyson would continue his career, but his decline had already begun. The events of October 20, 2000 were just another example of the unpredictability that defined Tyson's career. The fight served as a microcosm of his career, moments of brilliance marred by self-destructive behavior and a lack of discipline. For Golota, the fight was another chapter in his storied history of missed opportunities and disappointing outcomes. The controversy surrounding the fight would follow him for the rest of his career, and though he would continue to box for a few more years, his chances of achieving greatness seemed increasingly distant. Ultimately, the Tyson-Golota fight stands as one of the most bizarre and controversial moments in heavyweight boxing history, with both fighters suffering from the fallout in different ways. The no contest result, combined with the drug test and Golota's quitting, created a chaotic atmosphere that overshadowed the actual fight. Tyson, despite his victory, was once again the center of controversy, and his career would never fully regain the luster it once had.